Hi guys, I hope you're doing great. Welcome to my channel. Here we are with another episode of C# tutorial, and in this episode we're going to learn switch statements and also while loop and for loop. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to subscribe it, and if you find this video useful, please like it. It will be a great support. Let's start. First of all, we're going to learn switch statements. We use switch statements to select one of many code blocks to be executed. I'll show you how it works. Okay, as you see here, between these parentheses, we have an expression. If this expression equals to x, this block will be executed, and after that we will break and we will get out of the switch case. And if, for example, this expression equals to y, this block will be executed. I'll show you an example and you will learn it. Okay, here we have an example. Suppose here we have a variable, an integer, which is a value equals to 4, and we actually reach this line. Here, switch case, we have a variable day between the parentheses. It actually compare the amount of this variable to each case, and if that value equals to each case, that specific case will be executed. For example, here we have day equals to 4, and the case which value is 4 will be executed. Actually, the block that is inside that case will be executed. For example, here we actually expect that this line to be executed. For example, let's run it. Okay, here we go. As you see, Thursday is written here. Why? Because this line, which actually prints Thursday, was inside case 4. Okay, and if we change the value of day, we change it to, for example, 1, we expect that this block to be executed, for example. And you can actually write as many lines as you want. For example, I write again here console dot write line, and for example another line, just to show you how it works. And as you see here, whatever you write here will be executed. This is the way it works. And you might imagine, you might suppose that how this break works, or if you actually search on the internet, you might see that we have another keyword which is a default at the end of each switch case, like this. Okay, and you might also write a code between these. For example, we say console dot write line invalid day, for example. Okay, as you know, we have 7 days in a week. For example, if we say day number 8, and if you run the code, you will see that we have invalid day. Why? Because we don't have case which represents 8. Okay, here we have case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we don't have 8. So whatever we have except these values, we enter this part of the code and we go into this block, and this block will be executed. This is the role of default. And why we use break? Actually, we use break for various reasons. Actually, a break can save a lot of execution time because it ignores the execution of all the rest of the code in a switch block. For example, as we know that here we have, for example, if we have 4, they equals to 4, it actually run the codes line by line, and when it reach here, if we have case 4 and it execute this block, and if we don't have break, it will continue to check whether these cases are 4 or not, and this will actually somehow waste our time, and it will actually waste and consume some resources. So we actually must use break here, and we sometimes, and this default is optional if we are sure that our input will not be out of these cases. We don't need to use default, but if we are not sure, we use default here. Okay, let's see how loops work and what are loops. Loops can execute a block of code as long as a specified condition is reached. Loops are handy because they reduce errors and they save time, and you don't need to repeat the same code, and our code will be more readable. They are definitely very useful. Okay, let's show you the syntax of loop. First, we are going to learn a while loop. Well, like here, we have a condition here, and if the condition is true, this block will be executed. Whatever is between these two parentheses will be executed. I'll show you an example. We have a variable which is integer I equals to 0, and here it checks if I is less than 5. And because I is 0 here, so this condition is true, and we enter this loop. And as you hear console.writeLine, the amount of I will be shown on terminal, and after that this I will be increased by 1, and then it will return to this condition after the last line between these two parentheses. After the last line, it will go to the condition, and it will again check the condition whether it is true or not. If it is true, it will continue to execute the code between these two parentheses, or if it is false, it will jump out of the loop and continue to execute other lines. So let's see how it works. As you see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are shown here, and 5 is not here. Why? Because we say that if I is less than 5. So when I equals to 5, it will jump out of the loop, and 5 will not be shown here. And if you can change the condition to if I is less or equal to 5. So we expect that 5 to be executed and to be seen on terminal. As you see here, 5 is written here. We have also a do while, which is used less than while, but I'll show you how it works and what do while loop is. Do while loop is a variant of the while loop. This loop will execute the code block once before checking if the condition is true. Then it will repeat the loop as long as the condition is true. The syntax of this loop is like this. As you see here, first the code which is between these two parentheses will be executed regardless of the condition, and after that the condition will be checked. If it is true, it will actually repeat the loop, and if it is false, it will jump out of the loop. Let me show you by an example. Here again, we have a variable named I, it equals to 0, and we have a do while here. Regardless of the condition, this code will be executed and it will be checked if this condition is true. If it is true, as I said, the loop will be continued and we will see the amount of I. Let's execute this code, and as you see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is printed here. If this condition is false from the beginning, for example, if I say I bigger than 5, let's see how it is. Okay, here you see 0 is written here. The reason is that, as I said, the first time that this code want to be executed, it doesn't actually care about the status of this condition, if it is true or false. First time this will be executed, and after that, after this line we enter this, we check this condition, and then if it is true, the loop will be continued. If it is wrong, will be jump out of the loop. This was the meaning of loop, while loop, and how we use while loop. And we will use while loop in the future, and I'll show you more about it. So let's see how we use for loop. When you know exactly how many times you want to loop through a block of code, use the for instead of while loop. The syntax of for loop is like this. I'll show you how it is. Like this, we have a statement here, another one here, and another one here, and this code, the code between these two parentheses, will be executed. This statement, we actually we define a variable here. This is like a counter, and we initiate the counter here, and in this, between these two semicolons, we write our condition, and here we increase the variable by 1 or by 2 or whatever you want. And then, for example, when the code reaches the last line of this block, it will also go through the condition and check if the condition is true. If it is true, the loop will be continued. If it is false, it will jump out of the loop. So let me show you an example. Here you see, as I said here in the first statement, we have integer I equals to 0. We initiate our counter, and here we set a condition if I less than 5, and here we increase the I every time that the code between the code which is in this block between these two parentheses is executed. Each time this variable, this code will be executed, and the counter, which is I here, will be increased by 1. Let me show you how it works. Okay, first we have an integer named I less than 5. It is true, this code will be executed, and then I is increased by 1. So we check it if it is less than 5. Yes, it is 1 less than 5, and another time this code is executed, and again I is increased by 1, and then checked until I is equals to 5, and we check here if I, which is 5, less than 5, so it is false because it is equal to 5, not less than 5, and it will jump out of the loop. And we can actually write a line here. For example, we say console.writeLine. We say the loop is ended, and we can execute this code. And as you see, after it jumps out of the loop, it executes this line. Okay, let's see another example, because loops are of paramount importance, and you have to be really careful about learning them, and you have to practice to have a good comprehension of them, and you actually understand when and where we use these loops. And I'll show you later in our project. We will use for, while too much, and you will get the hang of it definitely. Okay, let's see another example. Here I actually in statement one we set the variable before the loop starts, and then we check if this condition is true. So if I is less or equal than 10, so first I equals to 0, so it is less than 10, and then after that we execute the code, and when we finished our codes, which are between these two curly brackets, we actually go to this part of the code, and I is increased by 2 this time, and again we check the condition, so the condition is true because I equals to 2, and again this code will be executed, and as long as this condition is true, we go through the loop. I'll run it, and as you see, the 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, because we increased I by 2 this time. You can increase it by 3 or 4, or you can multiply it to a number or whatever you want. For example, we have here, we can multiply it by 2, and let's see how it works. We have 0 here, multiple zeros. Why? Because here we have 0, 0, the multiplication of 0 and 2 equals to 0, 0 is less than 10, and this loop will be executed forever. And if you change it to 1, this will not be executed forever. As you see, here we have 1, 2, 4, and 8. Each time, the previous amount of I will be multiplied by 2 and will be assigned to I again, and that's why it increased by 2. Okay guys, this is the end of this session. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, and if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe it. It will be a great support and great encouragement, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.